probably one of the worst inventions that came from the New World, not the Old World, was the word winemaker, because it puts you in the creative role, whereas it's the quality of the grapes and the natural process that makes the wine. If you have really fine grapes that have complexity, you can make some of the finest wines that actually reflect not your idea of what you want in the bottle, but what the vineyard produces. I got a chance in the late 60s, early 70s when I was here to taste some of the California wines from the 30s. And that would have been particularly Inglenook and a small winery in the Santa Cruz Mountains called La Cuesta. They were considered one of the single finest wines in California. Having those wines, nothing that I had tasted from Inglenook again, BV, so on, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, compared with what had been made in the 30s. And what I realized was they had been made the way wine was made in the 19th century, both in California and France. That was traditional winemaking. It did not involve the processing and the chemicals that came in with reinventing winemaking after Prohibition. These were some of the finest grapes, and by treating them minimally in terms of anything used to either process or to add to them, you could make fine wine that reflected where it was grown, not some concept of the winemaker. The Ridge Partners began buying the property in '59. '62 then was their first commercial vintage. So when I was interviewing with them and trying to decide if I wanted to join this group up in this relatively unknown area called the Santa Cruz Mountains, they had me taste their '62 and their '64. Well, these were three PhDs in electrical engineering, all working for Stanford. They'd never made wine in their life. And I had tasted nothing of the quality of what these guys had. Really interesting, complex wine. But they had no knowledge at all. And so you might say, well, they made the wine in the simplest possible fashion. They simply didn't get in the way. And I tasted those two wines with their complexity and quality and said, if I join them, I'm gonna have a chance to make some really fine wine, because here they were, first wines they'd ever made, doing nothing except getting out of the way. And look what this vineyard is producing. It's basically just guiding a natural process. That, for our winemaking, is at the heart of the matter. Has been for me from the beginning.